This week in Introduction to Linguistics, we're turning our attention from phonology to morphology. Phonology, we learned in Chapter 3 of our textbook, A Concise Introduction to Linguistics, is the study of the sound system of a language. Morphology, we will learn in Chapter 4, is instead the study of the structure and classification of words and the units that make up words. In Chapter 4, though, we will also be introduced to typology and etymology. Typology is the branch of linguistics that studies the structural similarities of languages. Specifically, because Chapter 4 concentrates on morphology, we will learn about morphological typology, which is the study and classification of languages based on how morphemes create words. But of all the branches of linguistics we will learn about in Chapter 4, the one that fascinates me the most is etymology, which is the study of the history of words. For example, if you speak Spanish, you might have realized that some of the words in English have historically been borrowed from Spanish. For example, on an early morning walk in Southern California, you might catch a glimpse of the wild animal what we call a coyote in English. If you speak Spanish, you might have realized that English borrowed that word from Spanish, in which that animal is also called a coyote. At some point during that early morning walk, you might duck into a grocery store to buy some chocolate, a tomato, and an avocado. Again, if you speak Spanish, you might have realized that English borrowed all three of those words from Spanish, in which chocolate is chocolate, tomato is tomate, and avocado is aguacate. However, unless you also speak Nahuatl, the language of the Aztecs, you might not have realized that some of the words in Spanish have historically been borrowed from Nahuatl. For example, the Spanish word coyote comes from the Nahuatl word coyotel, and chocolate, tomate, and aguacate come from Nahuatl words chocolatl, tomatl, aguacatl, respectively. The etymologies of these words are discussed in the section of Chapter 4 called Foreign Word Borrowing. If, after reading that, you're interested in learning about the histories of other words, I recommend checking out one of the etymology dictionaries available online. In the meantime, since it's Super Bowl Sunday, as I record this video, I'm about to go turn some avocados and tomatoes into what we call guacamole in English. If you check out one of those online etymology dictionaries, though, you'll learn that the word was, like the rest of the words in this table, borrowed from Spanish, in which it is also called guacamole, and that Spanish, in turn, borrowed it from, you guessed it, Nahuatl, in which it is called ahuacamole. The ahuaca is a shortening of aguacatl, and the mole is the Nahuatl word for a sauce, which, if you speak Spanish, you'll recognize as the source of the Spanish word mole. Like I said before, etymology is fascinating. Now, off to make that guacamole.